Merry Christmas, everybody, from the Cyclekart workshop. I want to thank you for watching my channel this year. I had a great time with my family and friends playing with cycle carts, and I appreciate that you followed along on all of our exploits. This next year, 2016, is going to be a great year. There's several new builders that have come along here in the Phoenix area, starting to grow. Plus, I'm just about ready to start my 4th cycle cart. That's 4. And I've been thinking about it for a couple of months. I have some sketches and everything here on the table, so I'm going to grab the camera and show you my concept. I haven't started building anything yet, but I want you to see how I go about at least figuring out what I want to build. Okay, be right back. Okay, well, I'm in full design mode around here. Got everything spread out that I need to do some sketching and measuring and scaling, and then got my tripod and then some reference books. I'll show you this stuff in a minute. Of course, I've got my babies in here. It's cold outside right now. It's about 36 in the morning here in Phoenix, and gets up to about 65 during the afternoon. So got them in here where it's warm. And then remember on my last video I was talking about how I have to make a repair to this tank. So that's steel, this is brass, and I figured I could braze it. Well, I haven't brazed in a long time. Oh man. You know, the brazing I used to do, you know, these are pre-coated with flux, and I use the brazing rod where you dip it in the powder. So I got to try to find some of that. I managed to make a mess of it, but you know, I beat on this. You know, this is steel, that's brass, that's steel, that's brass, and I used my acetylene torch, and I think I had just too much flame. But I beat the hell out of it to see if it would hold, and you know, the braze didn't break. Anyway, I need a ton more practice before I even remotely attempt to do the tank. So in the meantime, I've got a different setup there so I can drive. Can't put the rear cover on though, because it doesn't fit on that configuration. Anyway, back into here. I don't want this video to go too long. So, you know, if you remember, this was the car I was thinking about building. I'd seen this picture a year ago, and I just liked the looks of it. I thought it made for a nice cycle cart, scale-wise, low to the ground. So, friends of mine, Johnny Dumfries and Josh up in Seattle, this is a collection of books that Josh had. They put them in a box and sent them down to me because Johnny's building a Roadster, kind of a mid-30s or early 30s lake racer, you know, hot rod. So I've been going through these books, and I'm telling you, they had great photos in here, and it's interesting to see what the guys were doing back in the 30s and 40s. And I could have enjoyed being part of that era. You could see where guys would take their cars, cobble together whatever they could, and try to make it go fast. And some guys got pretty creative. And that's what inspired me in these books, was they got creative in their approach. So I'm thinking, well, shoot, I could do that. I could do a hot rod style, early 30s, I'm thinking, and kind of make my own body, you know, take some cues from others. And then he also sent me down a couple of books that have color photos. And in this you get to see the streamliners, and that has some great photos. There's some fine looking women in these pictures too, by the way. Anyway, so that was my initial foray into, okay, what do I want to build? Just get through these here, hot rods. So I gleaned a little bit out of all these books, kind of in my brain, because I have to start sketching. So, oh hey, this is a cute little booklet that Johnny Dumfries and his buddies up there put together for Titan 2013. I'm one-handed here, but it's a little photo book. Kind of a little artistic thing. There I am right there. Oh, that's my granddaughter driving in a race. Anyway, it just shows that, you know, if you're an artist, Cyclekarts can be your gig. Okay, so anyway, I got to show you this more in depth. You know, here's my original concept. Then I went to the hot rod books. Then I did some photos. I did some sketching. I'm going to put this on the tripod and flip through the pages real quick. Okay. Okay, I'm going to zip through a number of pieces of paper here, from photographs to sketching, to kind of show you how I've gotten to the point where I am now. So you've seen this drawing here of what initially inspired me, and then I did some research in the hot rod books, and then I looked for other images. Here's a one from a different viewpoint, very similar to this. Okay, so then I came across this. All this stuff comes online. This is a pedal car, but I just like this drawing right here. I thought that looked pretty cool. And you can see there's other images. But I can take cues from this, maybe the radius rods and wishbones. I like how the steering comes out. Roll bar. This smooth line, that's cool. The discs. I even did a little sketch there. I did this a while back. There's the top view. Rear view. Helps me later when I'm trying to fine tune the body design. So that was some inspiration. I set that over there. So then I had to start doing some sketching. Well, I wanted to lay out a chassis. So I found my old monocar original. These are the original pencil sketch from when I designed the monocar chassis. It's a couple, 2 or 3 years old. So that helped me an initial layout. But I got to thinking that you know, for this design here, it'd have to be a mid-engine, or you know, engine ahead of the rear axle. So I started messing around with that. So Johnny Dumfries had done what I call a mid-engine. He sent me this drawing he had done a while back, and it shows the engine ahead of the axle. So I could use that for some guidance, which was nice. Then I started sketching. Here's a sketch that looks more like a 40 Ford or something. But I was just dicking around, really. I was exploring a longer wheelbase, which I have come to find out I don't really have to do. So this was a sketch that looks more like this. With the longer wheelbase, you can see the engine here. Right here. Now out of this sketch, I did another little pencil version. Let's see, I think, yeah, this had a shorter wheelbase. Here I'm getting a little more refined, and then I ultimately landed on this sketch. I showed you this in a video hanging on the wall a few weeks ago. So this is where I left off in I did development on this over a year ago. So this is where I left off, and then I picked up since then. So, alright, I got a number of other things to show you here. Okay, I needed to get a little more organized. I have still quite a few little pages I want to zip through here, so if you want to look at anything longer, stop the video. Okay, so, you know, I said that I wanted to do kind of a hot rod, or do my own body. So I started looking at mid-30s cars, and I landed on, you know, a style of grill similar to this. This is a 37 Studebaker grill. which I thought would look cool. I wanted to do a neat looking grill, probably tall. This is where I would deviate from this look with the track nose, which is too modern looking, truthfully, although this is a 34. But anyway, I just like that look, as you'll see later. This is a Studebaker grill from I think this is a 37, yeah. Which, if I could figure out how to build, would look pretty cool. This happens to be on a pickup, but I like the way the lines continue back. And then you remember this, some of you guys will remember this, the Streamliner came out a number of years ago. This was a huge sensation at SEMA, but that is one cool looking grill. I wouldn't necessarily do it exactly like these, but I get cues from them. So I'm leaning towards a mid-30s car, hot rod of my own device, one could say. Well, then as I'm searching around on the internet, I come across Randy Grub, randygrub.com. And this guy's, he's got a shop up in Oregon, one-two-man shop where he builds things. And if you've been around the internet and you're into cars, you've seen this, I forget what they call this thing, but it was a motorhome. This is all aluminum. And he builds this by hand. He makes wood bucks, shapes in aluminum, rivets them together. In some cases he welds it. These are these decopods. This is a Harley Sportster with an aluminum body. Here's another version. What I like about this is, and I've been on his website, which I'll put on the screen there, so you can see his technique, but I like how he overlapped the aluminum panels and then they use these rivets, and then of course louvers, and this could be applied to the body of a Cyclekart very easily, I think. He also did this Blastoline special or something, I think that's what he calls it, but this has some swooping lines. This has a nice shape to it, and that's on his website too. So let's see. Oh, and then he built these little decopods, and they have this same overlapping aluminum with the rivets, and I thought, oh, that'd be cool, because I'd like to do a one-piece body, or one or two-piece lift-off body with an inner structure, because these bodies were made and then dropped over a scooter. That's Jay Leno and that's Randy Grub right there. So when I saw this stuff, I think, oh man, because I want to step up my bodybuilding a little bit. I'm not ready to weld aluminum yet, but I can do this rivet thing, I think, and all these panels are smaller, so there's less curve and shape to them. So that really inspired me to try to design a body where I could use this technique. And I like this grill, the way he made it. And I went on his website and watched all his videos and got some good info. Okay, so knowing that I've been inspired by that, I started messing with, let's see here. Okay, so before I show you the body, I decided I better figure out the shape of the chassis. Let's see. I've got some early versions here. Well, let me show you this first. This is my design criteria. I was calling it a 38 Terraplane, or it could be a Studebaker or whatever, but it's going to be a 1938 Lake Racer. So I want to have a typical tapered chassis, and you can see that here. It's got some, it's just tapered, straight runs, because the body is going to be curved, but the chassis is not going to be. Nice and straightforward. I want to use a typical, rear axle like I use on my other cars. Typical rear brakes. I might go with the hydraulic brakes and pedals that Vintage Kart Go is using. We'll see. Honda engine, torque converter. These are not the clones. I pay the money for the stuff that doesn't give me any problems. I want to improve the steering. Maybe use a drag link and Ackerman setup on the spindles. you'll see all this later. I want to use the transfer spring. This is the same setup as the BMW, which I really like the way it handles. Now Cartco sells some components, and I'm going to use their spindles and bearings in the front. Their spring, they sell a spring. I'm going to use that in the front. I'm going to use their rear hubs and then the front and rear rims. And then my criteria for the body is I'd like it to be all aluminum and overlap panel method like Randy Grub. An aluminum substructure that allows me to remove the body. It'll, you know, want to use rivets, screws here and there, because you know screws are my thing, but you know, I like to try these. And then I like a removable body. Okay, so that's the criteria. You've seen how I've been messing around with the chassis and the shape of the body. Then I'm sitting at work one day and I'm sketching, and you know, Randy Grub he takes this aluminum, I think it's probably a ½ inch thick, and he cuts it, has it cut with a water jet, and he puts these slots in it, and that allows you to slip in a piece of steel to drive the rivet against the backing for the rivet. So the panel could be riveted to these hoops and layered like I'm talking, but that could, you can see how it could be removable. And yeah, what I put, add copper panel for effect, rivets, water jet slots, becomes bucking holes for flat rivets, aluminum inner frame, aluminum and copper skin, inspired by Randy Grub, deco Cyclekart idea. And then I was doing some shitty sketches here, crappy sketches. Anyway, you can see I've been thinking about it. Okay, so then the next sketches I did was this one, playing with body shapes. Now here's a rounded one with a kind of a behind your head there, you know, kind of an arrow shape. Here's one that's more monocar-like, and the engine sticks out. But see, they all kind of have this front end I'm talking about. Here's a pickup looking thing, a convertible pickup. Here's some more of that. This has an interesting shape. This is more like the Blastoline Special or a Delahaye, I think it is the one. I don't know where I was going with that one. It's a pickup looking thing. That's like a low, real low pickup look, which could be done. You can do a little flatbed, it'd fly. So, okay, so I'm getting there, you know. I also did a little more work on the chassis. These are some rough sketches I made when I was trying to do, this sketch. Where'd that go? Bear with me here. Yeah, when I was laying out this sketch is when I did these little drawings, little dink around drawings to try to figure out, and then this is a scale drawing, so that's because ultimately you have to figure out proportions, so the scale is important. Then I did here's kind of a little front view. And then these are scale, rough scale. Here's a little top view. This could be copper and aluminum for effect. So here's a screen for breathing. This is the scale. Let's see. Okay, then okay, I'm getting closer. But you know, you'll see. So this isn't too bad. Here I've kind of laid in the chassis and the seat with the lower pan. This is 5 inches off the ground here. Here's that front end I like. Real tall in the door, so it's streamlined. I did this exercise here on some tracing paper, vellum. Here's a couple different shapes. 1 inch equals 1 foot. Here you can see, yeah, this This one here is more or less this one. Tapers back. Here you can see the faint lines of a streamliner that I saw in one of the books where they just kind of a cigar or pickle shape. Kind of like this. Kind of like this too. Yeah, I don't want it to look too modern. I want it to look early, mid, late 30s. Here's one I did. You know, because to be in scale, this will be fairly narrow, and only about 28 to 30 inches tall at the cowl. So, anyway, there you have it. I could build this chassis. I'm far enough along that I know I could build the chassis, get it running, driving, and then work on this body. So, as I continue with this, I'll do another video. I'll probably do a wood buck of all this shape. I thought about buying a block of foam large enough, so putting it over the chassis and then carving and shaping and sanding the whole body out of a piece of foam. Then I could slice it up like bread, and that would give me the cross sections of all my ribs. I learned that technique from Josh up in Seattle, but I haven't applied it yet. Alright, so that's enough of this video. I think it's already too long. I just wanted to keep you abreast of how I'm doing, and I'll be building the chassis in January. Okay. Well, there you have it, all you good and faithful tubes out there in YouTube land. Thank you for all your support and watching and your comments. I appreciate it. And I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We're going to have a good time in 2016 building this next car and racing around. So stay tuned.